Here's an idea that I haven't seen yet. How to use cheap embroidery transfer pattern paper to make dozens and dozens of beautiful pieces of ephemera. It's inexpensive, it's fast, it's easy, it's fun, so stay tuned.
So I have my cool little mini ironing board that my mother gave me that's perfect for my desk, because if you watched one of my other videos, you'll know that I have a history of warping my self-healing cutting mats by ironing on them. I forget. So she gave me this and it's working out really great. The embroidery pattern I'm using today is just from Hobby Lobby. Embroidery transfer pattern, and it's an iron-on. This one is called Beautiful Floral Motifs. So I have my iron. I have a little mini travel iron that I use in my craft room, and excuse me, I have it on the cotton setting, and I think I'm going to do this flower right here, or no, this one's on the side, so I'm just going to cut this one out and figure out where I want it placed. And because it looks like it should be on the corner here, so that's how I'm going to do it. And then I'm just going to start ironing. And sometimes you can reuse these if some of the ink remains on the pattern paper. You can get a couple of uses out of these. So I discovered that it really wasn't working very well with my little travel iron because it kept shutting itself off. It has apparently a safety feature on it, and it kept getting cool. So I have my regular iron out, and I have it on the cotton setting, and I think this is going to work better. And yes, my iron is from the 70s. It's very vintage. Everything in our house is retro. So don't make fun of my iron. And there we go. It's not showing up really well in the camera, but it is kind of a really pretty pastel-y blue. I love that. And I might even be able to get, oh, and it's definitely, it's gone through all of the sheets of paper. So if you don't want it to do that, then open it up like this, and it will show through this side, but that's kind of pretty. Okay, so let me show you a few of the other things that I made using the embroidery transfer paper. Of course, embroidery transfer paper works well on fabric. I have this beautiful muslin that I love because it's nice and thick and easy to work with. And so I used that image that I showed earlier and just ironed it on here, sewed around the edges, and now we have just a beautiful either fabric flip, or it can be placed on here with double-sided tape or glue on 3 sides, and you have a beautiful pocket. And I love the way that turned out. You can also take the instructions from your sheet and you can iron them onto stuff as well. The only thing is the writing is going to be backwards, so be aware of that. So I did that onto another piece of this muslin that I tore apart, and I just ironed the instructions on there. And you can't understand it, so I don't mind that it's all backwards and upside down or whatever, but that makes another great flip or pocket, or just an addition to a tag. This would make a very nice tag. So that's another idea. I took this border here and I put it on more on more muslin, and I glued that to a paper bag. And I also have some of the instructions here. But don't forget too to use up these pieces. Don't throw these away. Once you've used all of the ink, you can use them in collage. So that's what I did here. This is a piece from the embroidery pattern. This is a border. Here's another one. This is a fabric piece. This is a fabric piece that has a little flower on it. This is when the ink was starting to fade. Just a little piece of coffee stained paper there, a piece of trim, and a button. And now we have a cute little paper bag to put somewhere in the journal. And then the last thing I did is I embossed. I used that stencil, the embroidery stencil, as once it started getting really faded and you could barely see it, I took my Emboss It pen from Ranger and I traced over it, and then I put some of my copper embossing powder on it and heated it with my heat gun, and now I have a lovely element to the front of my paper. So there's all sorts of things that you can do with embroidery patterns. These are so inexpensive, and they're a dime a dozen at the thrift store. So I would encourage you to run out and get some, or if not, you've got maybe you have a Hobby Lobby near you, and give this a try and let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for another crafty episode coming soon. Bye-bye.